In this video, I test to see how well a larger vacuum hose does if the system itself is very small and restrictive. Welcome back to HVAC Shop Talk alongside Zach Scioto, that's me, and whichever one of my neighbors feels like it's always time to mow the grass when I make a video. So, we have a familiar vacuum rig from the last video right here, and the vacuum did a great job. We have a huge volume here, but it's a nice wide open 1 1/8". So that's basically like a large hose, a large vacuum hose coiled up, basically. So I was kind of curious, most systems aren't like that. Most systems are either you're vacuuming a long line set with an evaporator, or at least there's some sort of standoff between you and the more voluminous parts of the system. So I'm gonna add a little something to this test, which is gonna be some 1/4" copper. I'm gonna flare it onto our connection down here, and we're going to see exactly how that affects this test and how slowly the vacuum goes. I might try a couple different hoses just to see if it's even worth it to have a big hose when we have such a long run of small pipe. Does the hose really become inconsequential? Let's find out. You see this? This is exactly what happens every single time. I literally did not plan this. I did not plan this. Okay, we may have a little tiny bit of trouble in paradise here. We have probably 3 or 4 PSI drop, but I suspect that that actually could be explained by the long length that we inflated with nitrogen. And what I mean is the nitrogen is coming from the opposite end of the system and might have equalized out a little bit since we didn't stay in here very long. We just put pressure on it and I went on my way. We're gonna big blue all this stuff and double check it just to make sure, and let's just see if anything leaks. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it like 5 minutes and see if any bubbles arise, and if no bubbles arise, we'll consider it a equalization and proceed from here with the vacuum. So after 5 minutes, no apparent change in the pressure reading, no bubbles on any of the joints. So we're going to proceed as if it was just the equalization that I didn't give time to happen. And hopefully if anything else is leaking, it shows up during the vacuum. But I do believe it's just like we theorized, but we'll see, But this hasn't changed anymore in the last 5-10 minutes, which is good. So I'm going to hook up the vacuum pump and we're going to see what effect this long piece of 1/4" copper has on the vacuum reading that fell to 100 within just a few minutes on our last test. So let's see how that changes this time around. For this test, we will again be using the Navac 4 CFM battery powered vacuum pump. Fresh battery, 18 volts, 9.0 amp hour. For the first part of the test, we'll be using the True Blue hose. I think this is a 5-foot hose, and we have, I think, 3/8 to 1/4" connection. And then on the opposite end, we'll have the filled piece Micron gauge, and that'll keep our score here while we're running. I'm gonna let the pump run for 10 minutes. We'll follow the filled piece Micron gauge, and we'll see how it compares with the previous test. Our timer is finished. As you can see with the True Blue hose in the background right there, we are at 1730 microns roughly, falling at a pace of 120 per minute. That's going to continue to diminish as we get lower and lower. So 1730 is what the True Blue got us. I did add a NAVAC valve core removal tool on the other end, and I just wanted a separation between the vacuum hose and the system we built here. So I'm going to take this rig off right now, and I'm going to put on another hose, a 1/4 inch hose, and we're going to see how that compares with our 1730 on the True Blue hose. My feeling is if True Blue only got to 1730, I don't even know if we're going to get to a reading with a regular hose. Let's find out. I have my red hose, has a ball valve in it, so potential leak points right here. Regular gauge hose, nothing special about it. We're going to go ahead and have the NAVAC shut off. We're going to turn the pump on. This was allowed to sit open for a few minutes to make sure that it came to atmospheric reading. We're going to open it up. NAVAC is off to the races, and we're going to follow this for 10 more minutes. Our timer is done, and we are at 1900 and falling with our hose, which is the 1/4 inch hose. I'm a little surprised. Okay, so how did this happen that the gauge hose was so close to the True Blue hose? Was our theory correct? Was the fact that the line set was so long and narrow that impede the vacuum so much it leveled the playing field? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to test additional theory that I came up with, that first run through with the True Blue hose actually did a good bit of dehydrating of the system, which it should be. It's in a vacuum. And then even when we let the inside of the pipe come up to atmosphere, it was still more dehydrated than it was before the test. It's possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this thing off, let the vacuum off of this thing, and we're going to put the True Blue hose back on to see if it makes an improvement over the first time that it participated. All right, we're going to open it up and let it go back to atmosphere. I'm going to leave it open only long enough for me to switch the hoses. I will switch the batteries because we should be, we don't want to exhaust the battery and have that be a detractor for what we're doing. Well, it is not a decisive victory. It's about exactly where it was before at this time. Interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Let me know if I can augment this test in any way. So what does this test tell us? It tells us that if we have a system that has an extremely small line set, the playing field for these vacuum hoses gets leveled out quite a bit. They were almost neck and neck. Really, they were so close, it's almost too close to call, in my opinion. True Blue is the best vacuum hose I have ever tested. So this is a best case scenario for speed versus a worst case scenario, and this coil of copper evened that out. So I want comments from you guys about what you think about the testing. How would you improve it? What could we do differently? What else could we test? I already have some ideas, I already have some things that have been recorded. You guys saw me use the thermal imager just now. We're going to be talking more about that thermal imager and what it can do and using it in upcoming videos. One of the things I like most about doing this stuff is that sometimes I get surprised at how things turn out. I really didn't think it would be very close at all, even with the coil of copper right here. That's what's interesting to me. And thinking about when I first started in the trade and how now we're using these giant vacuum hoses that speed things up so much almost all the time. We have battery power tools everywhere. Vacuum pump that's run off of batteries. It's really, really cool time to be an HVAC technician, at least with the tools and all the new technology. So if there's anything I can do for you guys to help test something out that's within my power, I'd like to do it. I do a lot of tool stuff, do a lot of theory stuff. I like the science. I like to have fun with it. So I hope you guys like it as well. Next time, it should be should be complete system analysis. The video was so big and there's so many parts to it, I just couldn't get it out in time. I'm still working on it. Some of it's already filmed. I wanted to give you guys something that'll kind of intrigue you and interest you. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking a lot more about the different tools, wireless tools, the new Y-Jack probes. A lot of fun stuff coming up on HVAC Shop Talk. Hope you join me. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Tell all your friends about it. All of them. Even the ones that don't care. That'd be great. But I do appreciate it, guys. And I'll see you on the next one.